Welcome to Indiana News Desk. I'm Joe Wren. Democrats are calling on a rising star in the Indiana Republican Party to resign. Attorney General Curtis Hill has been accused of groping 4 women, 3 legislative staffers, and a lawmaker at a post-session party in March. Activists are planning a weekend march to call for Hill to resign. While Governor Eric Holcomb, Speaker of the House Brian Bosma, and David Long, President pro tem of the Senate, have all called for Hill to resign. Hill has said he has no plans to do so. He's called an inquiry into the matter a prejudicial investigation that is deeply troubling. Brandon Smith joins us now from the State House to talk more about this. So Brandon, now just this morning, State Representative Marla Candelaria-Reardon came out and said she was groped by Hill at a party earlier this year. Is having a victim come out publicly, does that put greater pressure on Hill?
Well, first things first, it's important whether they come out publicly or not that we always listen to and believe accusers in these sorts of situations. And of course, coming out publicly adds a special sort of bravery to it because in the history of these sorts of accusations, they tend to go better for the accused than the accusers. But in this case, she's come out after all of these other people, including the leader of the Republican Party, the leader of the state government, Governor Eric Holcomb, the legislative leaders, now a member of Congress, Susan Brooks, has joined those calls, as has Joe Donnelly. I'm not sure how much more pressure that can add at this point, but it certainly doesn't hurt.
As you mentioned, the governor, leaders at the State House on both sides of the aisle, they're calling for Hill to resign. But if he doesn't, is there any way for them to just remove him from office?
There is a procedure under which state officers like Attorney General Curtis Hill can be impeached or removed from office by the legislature. The House would have to bring the articles of impeachment by a 2/3 vote. The Senate would have to convict by a 2/3 vote, or both chambers can pass a joint resolution, each by 2/3 vote. But only one person so far, Democratic Representative Ed Delaney, has threatened to bring those articles of impeachment. There hasn't really been much more discussion of that, but there is an avenue for that to happen.
Brandon, we also heard today the State Inspector General is looking into the matter. How long will that take, and what could come from that investigation?
I can't speak to the length of that investigation. There's really not a good way to know that at this point. As to the consequences of that, they aren't excessively severe from a criminal perspective because that's not what kind of investigation this is. We could see a fine of Curtis Hill if there's wrongdoing found, or we could see him barred from working for the state for a length of time or for forever. But beyond that, there isn't much the Inspector General can do, especially if he leaves office.
Okay, Brendan, we'll stay tuned. Thank you very much.